più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto Adolgino d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto Adolgino d'amor.
Bienvenuti, or welcome, and thanks for stopping by. I chose today's recipe based on a recent poll that I had on my Patreon page. If you would like to have a say in what I cook next, check the link in the description. It's right down here. The dish that got the most votes on the poll was shrimp scampi. So today, I'm going to be making shrimp scampi with spaghetti. I'm going to be trying to make this recipe as traditional as possible with very few ingredients. However, as I practiced for this video, I did find that there's a lot of room for other flavors in this dish. So we're going to do the traditional Italian-American dish that you're probably familiar with. And in the description below, I'm going to add some variations that I enjoyed. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ring the bell so that whenever I put out a new video, you get notified, and thank you so much. The base of our sauce is going to have a few ingredients. We have shallot, garlic, and chili flake. We're going to sweat those things down, then we're going to deglaze with a little white wine and then mound it with butter. That'll be kind of the start of our sauce. So we're going to use a skillet just for that. We're going to use a small pan to cook our shrimp and a pot to cook our pasta. So let's get all that stuff ready and start chopping our vegetables. When we're chopping our shallot, we don't want to chop it too fine because it'll cook and burn too quickly. So we're going to do kind of a medium slice here.
Non più avrai questi bei panacchini, quel cappello leggero galante, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante, quel vermiglio d'onesco color, quel vermiglio d'onesco color. Non più avrai quei panacchini, quel cappello, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante.
We have our shallots and our garlic ready to go. Now it's time to clean our prawns. When you buy your prawns at the store, you're going to have a couple options. Option A is going to be this cleaned, boiled, perhaps shrimp in a bag that's frozen. Or option B, this guy. Now, he's not very pretty, but this is really easy to clean and it's going to be a lot cheaper than the other one. Best tool that I've found for cleaning prawns is just a nice sharp pair of scissors. You're going to take the prawn, come up with the scissors into the shell on the top, snip all the way through to the tail. I'm going to peel that shell right off, all the way to the tail. And you're going to want to get this little line out. This little digestive tract here. That's poopy. Don't want that. I'm going to leave these prawns on ice while I get the rest of my stuff ready. There are three elements to this dish, right? We have the pasta, we have the sauce with our shallot and garlic, and then we have the prawns. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the longest cooked things first. So that's going to be the pasta and the sauce. I have my pot ready with water. I'm going to start heating that up, put some salt in, drop my pasta, and in the other pan, my skillet, I'm going to start sweating down my shallots and my garlic and start building those flavors to put the prawns and pasta in later. All right, we're gonna get our skillet going on medium heat here and our pot of water going on high heat. I'm gonna add some salt to that. And once that's boiling, we'll put it in our pasta. We're sweating down our shallots first. They're going to cook a little bit slower than the garlic, whereas the garlic's going to go very quickly. So we want to be ready. I have my chili flakes here. I'm going to add a healthy pinch of that. All right, my shallots are just starting to get a little bit of color. They're not browning just yet, but I think it's a good time to start adding my garlic. Go ahead and throw that in. And I'm gonna reduce the heat a little bit. The shallots can take a nice hard saute, but the garlic will burn very quickly. So we're gonna lower that down to a low medium temperature and just let that kind of sweat, release its flavors into the sauce. And most things won't burn if you continuously stir them. So stick with this for a while you're adjusting temperature. Make sure that you're not getting any color too quickly on the garlic. All right, that's calmed down a little bit, so I'm gonna leave that for a second, get my pasta ready. Drop the pasta in the water, spread that around. And I have my temperature very high right now because I wanted that to come to a boil quickly. But now that the pasta's in and the starch is being released, we want to turn that down because that will boil over very quickly. Pasta is cooking in that lightly salted water, just sweating very slowly and nicely. Keep interacting with your pasta. Make sure that it doesn't get gummy or stick to each other. In keeping with tradition, our sauce is just going to be comprised of white wine and butter, maybe a little bit of pasta water if I find that it's a little too dry. So it's really important to have a nice bottle of wine that you want to drink, maybe with your meal, but also just a high quality wine. So I have from Willow Winery here in the Gorge. It is a wonderful winery and they make great stuff. This is an Albarino from 2019. It's not too sweet, which I really enjoy for this dish. It's very clean. We're gonna use about 1/3 of a bottle of wine. And so what we wanna do is when our vegetables have sweat appropriately, we're going to deglaze the pan with white wine at a high heat. And we're gonna burn off that alcohol. You wanna stick with it and you wanna smell that the alcohol has cooked off. I'm gonna turn that pan up to medium, give it a little bit more heat, and then I'm gonna hit it with the white wine. Part of deglazing is using that little bit of liquid at the beginning to scrape off all the flavor that's stuck at the bottom of that skillet. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Not that much stuck on there, so I'm gonna pour the rest of that bottle in there. All right, we have a nice healthy boil on our white wine back here. If you put your nose close to that and take a whiff, you're gonna get a nice sharp burn in your nose. That's gonna be still the alcohol coming off. So we wanna wait for that burning to not be present. And that's when we know that we're ready to mound with our butter. So a little bit longer. Still a little sharp. Okay, ready to mount our sauce. We have 4 ounces of butter here. And we don't want the sauce to break or cook at too high of a temperature, so we're going to lower that temperature. And as that melts, we want to stir it around, make sure that it's properly incorporated into the sauce. The pasta's getting very close. We want it to be almost all the way done, because when we put everything back in the pan with our cooked prawns, we don't want to cook it too long there because prawns can turn rubbery. It can happen really quickly. So we're stirring, making a nice, beautiful white wine and butter sauce. The accent, she know that. Beautiful. And we don't want to reduce this sauce, so we're going to turn the heat off on that. Let that kind of hang out back there. Pasta is done. We're going to strain that. I'm going to strain the water off and just put a little bit of oil on there. Keep that ready to go. Okay, and I did save a little bit of that pasta water in there, like I said. I may use that if the sauce is not where I want it to be. Okay, got a little oil in there. That's fine. I'm going to set that off to the side. We got our prawns again. Gonna rinse these off and season them. A little olive oil, little salt. And a little black pepper. Dash chili flake. And stir that around, incorporate all those. Okay, turn our pan on medium-low here. Olive oil. And we want this to get hot before we add our prawns. Okay, it's getting warmer. The oil's moving a little bit quicker in the pan. Okay. Like I said, these don't take very long to cook, maybe about a minute or two on each side. I can start to see some of these are already getting a little bit of color from underneath. And I'm going to flip these guys over. Awesome, yeah, these are cooking real nice. Alright, and honestly, that's far enough there. We're going to put these in the sauce, and the sauce is still warm, so that it may carry over just a little bit longer. But those guys are ready. Alright, ready to put all of our ingredients in the pan together. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest here. I have a nice microplane here that I love so much. Grate some of that in there. And I'm going to get a little lemon juice ready for later. A little fresh parsley to add into that. And now we can add our pasta. Turn the heat back on, kind of low medium or so. Alright, let's get a little taste of that. Very good. A little bit of acidity from the lemon is going to bring out a little brightness. And if you were paying attention, I didn't put any salt in there. There was salt in the pasta water that I incorporated a little bit. And then the butter that I was using was salted as well. And that, along with the natural salinity that's in the prawns, gives us enough salt for this dish. God, that lemon's so good. Add just a touch more. So I used the juice of half a lemon. And this is enough for 2 people here. I think that 7 prawns per person is a good number. And you can also cut them in half too. You can butterfly them if you want to get more mileage out of your protein. But this is ready. I'm going to chop up some parsley, grate some parmesan, and we'll plate it up.
Non chiudrai farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di torno girando, delle belle turbando a riposo, narcisetto a dolcino d'amor. Delle belle turbando a riposo, narcisetto a dolcino d'amor. Fra guerrieri può far bacco, grande stacchi stretto sacco, schioppo in spalla, sciabla a fianco, collo dritto, muso franco, un gran casco, un gran turbante, molto onor, poco cantante, poco cantante, poco cantante. Ed invece del fandango una marcia per il fango, per montagne, per valloni, con le nevi e salioni, al concerto di tromboni, di bombarde e di cannoni, che le porre tutti i tuoni all'orecchio fan fischiar. Non più avrai quei pennacchini, non più avrai quel cappello.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments, like and subscribe. And for more exclusive content and a chance to choose what I cook next, visit my Patreon page at patreon.com/NickBecomesAChef. Bye!
Delle belle turbando a riposo.